Hey everyone, it's Fiktxun Crypto back at it again with another video. And today I want to say thank you for all the support lately. Been dealing with a death in the family and dealing with a death of relationships and things in my life. You know, it's been kind of crazy. A lot of things are coming to an end, but this is a new beginning. Spring is just around the corner, and X Spring is springing into action as well. So we have some very interesting updates from Sologenic team, the new developments for Q2, the 2022 focus. This is going to be an interesting video, but first give us a follow on Twitter at Fiktxun Crypto if you want to keep up with the latest XRPL news and updates around this blockchain and other blockchains. We are doing a giveaway in 10 followers. So I like to do giveaways every 100 followers. This is something we do to keep our community incentivized of staying here, learning this stuff that we have to teach to you all. So let's get straight into it. As you see, we have Sologenic right here. And when I say this is one of my favorite projects, it's not about like the NFTs or all that stuff. It's about the technology, even down to the, look, I have to put the NFTs in there because that's technology as well. You know, when I say NFTs, I'm talking about when people just associate that with just a JPEG image. This is going to be something that we use so much to transact valuable information or data that has no value as well. So this is going to be pretty cool. I love this project. Let's get into some of their updates from their Twitter feed, calling all female artists to submit their NFTs to be featured on their marketplace. This is a thing that I love to see in this space. This is a male-dominated space, which is nothing wrong with that, but we have to give some spotlight to other, genders and people on this planet. And this is what Sologenic is doing. They're highlighting that women need some spotlight for this crypto space to raise up and have some say in this. We have some really smart women in this community, and I think they really need to be highlighted. So shout out to Sologenic. We will see a bunch of great developers come from this. Next, we have the Sologenic 4 market updates and focuses for 2022. And I said 4, but it is an extra one because they have upgrades and new components. It's 1 upgrade and 4 new components for the 2022. And we will be going over that shortly. I have that coming up in the next couple of slides. Third, this AMA or Ask Me Anything is coming up for the Q2 2022 updates. If you want to get in a Twitter space and ask any question you need to, this is your time. This is where you actually get to talk to the team and not hear stuff like this from people like myself or anybody who's covering this project. You can talk directly to them, and what better way to communicate and learn? Talk directly to the team. Please be in that because I surely will. Last but not least, before we get into this very interesting article from Sologenic, you see that CoinFlex has completed the Sologenic airdrop distribution and has listed the pair for trading. Now you can trade your Solo versus the USD. This is something that we like to see. I know I kind of compare Sologenic to what Flare Network is supposedly supposed to be. And I know Flare Network is really taking their time and building something very different. But I like how Sologenic and Flare Network, they are making these moves. They're constantly making these moves. And Sologenic grabs another place in this industry to get their token out to more people, to bring more liquidity to their market. This is wonderful. Before we get into this article, I just want you to look at this Sologenic price. Just want you to look at this real quick. Just want you to look at that. 32 cent, 33 cent. We'll call it a premium at 33 cent. That's all I want you to look at. Let me show you something else before we get into this. $5, it says 5.7. This was a $5.70 token. Right now, it is literally 1,000% cheaper than what it was at an all-time high. You cannot get a better time to dollar cost average into an asset class or an asset like this at this moment. I mean, if you don't know what this token or this company or who these people are, it's time to start looking it up. So let's get straight into this article. The new components and upgrades from the Q2 of 2022. Over the last 12 months, the SOLOGENIC team has been heavily determined and focused on accomplishing a couple of things. And this is just a list of their accomplishments right here. The SOLOGENIC client SDK libraries. That, when I read over that, that was very interesting because it gave us a library. If I don't want to chop this up, it gave us a library for each individual customer that goes through the XRPL stream. What we always hear is this terminology about books and storing books on a shelf. So all this information that we add to the ledger is just like a book, and we got to put it on the shelf. The ledger is the shelf, but the whole thing needs a library that completes it all, where you can go to that and find that information. And those are what ledgers are, those little libraries and packets of information where they are just sitting on the blockchain. We got the JSON RPC, which allows more servers to connect to the SOLOGENIC server. And this is good because the interoperability that we are looking for when it comes to cross-chain swaps, also bridging us to other blockchains as well. Then we have the SOLOGENIC asset tokenization ecosystem on the testnet. And I mean, if we all know what Hyperledger and Interledger is, the differences between those. Hyperledger is kind of a more centralized protocol, and Interledger is kind of more of a open source. Well, it is an open source, and Hyperledger is open source as well, but Interledger is a open source protocol basically, and they are trying to include everyone in it and get all of the money onto it on a system where it's going to be using tokenized assets or a tokenized ecosystem. Everything you have in your life is able to be tokenized. I mean, you know what route we're going to go down. They are going to be able to try to transact money off of literally everything. Why not? It makes sense. That means more money is going to be moved around, so more money is going to be made. And that's where you're going to see a lot of micro payments come into this play field. $3 transactions on spending money is just way too much. And Ethereum or Bitcoin, 10 cents is way too much for sometimes. You know, it's just too expensive. And I don't, I just don't believe the utility of something like that has a longevity in this space. Then they did the SOLOGENIC DEX, also with their iOS and Android apps. And last but not least, their NFT Marketplace. Now, the SOLOGENIC teams believes the XRP ledger has potential to disrupt the industry. And I believe that as well, because what we are seeing is a complete shift, a complete 180 in the crypto community. It's no longer hype. It's literally about technology. And that's what all of our XRP community, the XRP army, have been saying the whole time. We are not focused on hype. We are worried about technology and bridging these other assets and blockchains together. So this is their key points of what they're going to be focusing on: the bridge, the cross-chain bridge interoperability, the solo cards, and the fiat on and off ramps. You'll be able to spend and buy cryptocurrencies directly on the DEX, the SOLOGENIC Launchpad, allowing startup projects to be and raise funds directly on their marketplace, a market index, and this is going to help us decide or actually figure out, excuse me, not decide, figure out where we can find our tokens, like the prices of them, and USD values, XRP values, and hopefully more. And hopefully they do let us decide which tokens that we want to see up at the top or not. That would be cool. You know, give us a couple of more voting options with the token. Then last but not least, the swap migration for the XLS20D. This is allowing, for what I'm knowing so far, the XLS14D to be swapped to the XLS20D, just to gain a bunch of more standard functions that the XLS14D didn't have. And when I say standard functions, the NFT or this XLS20D is going to be the standard protocol of XRP NFTs. This is just the beginning. It's going to get better, trust me. Now let's get into this a little bit deeper. As we see on January 26th of 2022, Ripple announced a strategic partnership with Allbridge to support a cross-chain swap. The interesting thing is that they already have over $500 million in total value locked into this. This is going to give us interoperability between those other chains that we've been looking for the last couple of years. It's time that the XRP ledger gets some friends. I mean, we've been kicking it on the XRP ledger. The transactions are cheap, it's never down. I mean, the community is tight-knit. You can literally go in any space and get informed. I mean, we've been chilling on the XRP ledger, but we are starting to get lonely. We're starting to see Solana make an amazing NFT marketplace. We want to be able to interact with these people. So this is what they are going to be allowing us to do. And the craziest thing, this is going to be available by late April 2022. As previously stated in one of my older videos, I was saying the next 30 days or the next 60 days on the XRP ledger is going to be the most groundbreaking days of your life. This is the time to lock in and figure out what you need to figure out on this marketplace, on this ledger, on this Sologenic exchange, so you can be above the curve. Then we go into the fiat on and off ramps and solo cards. Now, this is a partnership with BANXA, and this will provide fiat on ramps to all users. I can finally have all different types of cryptos in my account. Well, actually, excuse me, not for the fiat on ramps. That's a little bit different. This is allowing us, this cross-chain technology or cross-chain interoperability is allowing us to have all of our assets on one wallet. Now, the fiat and on and off ramps are giving us the power to buy our assets directly on the DEX with our Visa and MasterCard cards, credit cards, debit cards. And this will give them a secure transaction with KYC operations, anti-money laundering operations. So we are more secure. This is really interesting to see that Sologenic is going a more secure way with Visa, MasterCard, and not trying to elude or run away from the government like people have made this thing out to be. And some of these on-ramps include MasterCard, Visas, Apple Pay, and others commonly used as payment options. This is what that page will look like. Something very, very smooth. And we see just a bunch of different payment options right here. Man, this is amazing. The solo cards. Now, this is going to be very cool because we know that Sologenic is working on tokenizing assets. And if they're going to be tokenizing assets. That means everything has a value. So if this is trading on the Sologenic exchange, I can literally tokenize a vehicle or book bag or whatever and spend it because it actually has value if it has liquidity in the market. So you'll be able to spend your digital assets or cryptocurrencies anywhere globally with this card. This is freaking insane. Look at this, man. Sologenic is just doing their thing. I cannot wait for the tokenization testnet to come out. Well, it already has came out, but I can't wait to actually see it more so in use. We need to put more people in charge of making videos on how to actually code the XRP ledger. I'm going to be working on a couple of videos, but I've only been coding for like 2 months. I don't think I'm well equipped to do that. So I would love to see some more tutorials on about coding this thing. Then we're going to go straight into the Solo Launchpad, which is something I'm very, very bullish for. This will allow you to launch a project on the Sologenic Marketplace. Now, this comes with a set of features that allows the community members to vote for your project, give you XRP or Sologenic or potentially your desired currency that you will like to accept for your project, while doing it in a safe and legal environment. That's the thing. People want to launch businesses, but are you doing it in a safe and legal digital asset environment? And we see Sologenic is providing that. We know they have been working on their technology for quite some time. I'm going to say they've been working on their technology ever since 2014. That's what I'm gonna say, but that's here and there. And also they're going to be introducing a trust score, which will allow us to vote on the projects. So let's click on this and you see right here, it says, do you trust this project or do you doubt the project? And they have a gauge. They got the time or a countdown option that's available for when the project may potentially launch or the first part should be done. This would be really cool if we see a feature where, you know, the person could put, okay, I'm going to have first step done by this day, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And then you can literally live check off the, or have a live countdown for when you're supposed to get stuff done. And if you don't get certain tasks done for that day, you lose a couple of points. This will be a very cool feature for Sologenic. Now, I also believe this type of feature is going to be coming towards humans, because what if it's a project where you can trust 3 of the 4 people on the board? They all have good trust scores, and the last person you can't trust. So that should, or he has a worser, or he or she has a worser trust score. That would affect the project even more, because now we get to actually see the scores of the people and not just the people. Market index and price tracking index for the XRPL tokens. And we have already seen this on the XRP ledger with XPIO market. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. They actually have it to where it is in blocks. So you see a full screen of just a lot of different blocks, kind of like Tetris, where if this one block or this one project has so much money, it takes up a lot of space in it. And it just basically divides all of the cryptos that are on the XRP ledger into the top 100 market caps and shows you in those in order. We see something similar here to Sologenic, which only has the list, which will be cool if they integrated a like different type of feature like circles or just floating values, moving values, floating values, more so than just the standard list. Because Sologenic they do a really good job of having these decks, how they look, the interface, but it's still, for some reason, it's still boring. They really need to kind of, I don't know, it looks great, but it's still boring. I don't know. They need to liven it up just a tad bit. put a couple more floating objects around, and use rounded edge objects instead of straight cut, because it's like, it looks too precise. Then last but not least, before we get up out of here, we have the XLS 20D, the swap and migration. And like I said recently, the XLS 14D are kind of the old standard that people were using. And now we're going to this new standard, the XLS 20D standard, which will unlock new features for this NFT token that you have. And these NFT tokens will be able to do so much more once you convert it to the XLS 20D. I actually believe that the XLS 20D will give us a bit more of adoption, because people are going to be able to do so much more. We're going to be able to see our NFTs in our own wallets. And now once you have something like that, literally, I mean, they talk about Ethereum hype. I'm hyped about XRP. I'm hyped about this ecosystem and the community. And last but not least, showing you that price one more time to get that into your head. You've seen what we just went over today. So you make the decision yourself. Is this a good price for you to dollar cost average into? Or do you need to pass up an opportunity, forget about Sologenic, and go invest into stocks or something like that? There's nothing wrong with that. But me, I'm liking this crypto game. I'm loving everything on these networks. I'm going with the Sologenic token. This is not financial advice by any means necessary. This is just my opinion. And as we are going to wrap it up today, I'm going to say peace out to everyone. It's been a very, very great show. It's Fiktxun Crypto. Peace.